Good evening everyone, welcome back once again to Witch in the Woods here on the Yogscast Complete Pack server. And apparently there's nukes coming, so yeah, this will be fun. So we are once again back at the motel build, and I have got another 3 rooms to build in this direction, and then I've got 6 to build in a 90-degree to that. So I'm probably going to have to remove some of that water, so this could be fun. But we are once again just going to be working on this whilst I talk about the movie homework. So I should probably mention, because I'm sure this is going to be kind of a little bit on the obvious side, I haven't slept. Ironically, I haven't slept for once because I was too tired earlier in the day. And then I had things to get done, like this. So, yay. That happened. I'll put it like that for some reason. So yeah, it's like, I've been eating, like, I managed to find a place that is stocking green tea pocky, so naturally I just had to try that, and it turns out that makes me, like, really sleepy, like, ridiculously so. So, yeah, it's delicious, but it makes me so sleepy. Okay, anyways, how wide are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 per. So I need to go another 24 blocks this way. Okay, so count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So here is where we need to be up to. No, so many seeds that I do not in the needing of. But we are going to need to get rid of this tree. Right. So the homework was Tomie. If you haven't seen it yet, I kind of don't blame you, because I had a lot of trouble finding anywhere that I could actually, like, watch it for terms of my own, like, research and remembering kind of things. So yeah, I don't blame you if you didn't manage to find anywhere that was, like, streaming or anything this. Okay, let's just drag this out all the way over so that we don't have to worry about it so much. Doop, doop, doop. So this movie, like, I should probably also note, much like my having not slept, that I wasn't actually able to find a full thing of Tomie. What I actually managed to find was, like, the first 2/3 of it, and then nothing. So, yeah, my notes kind of dead end after a point. So this should be hilarious, to say the least. Okay, and yes, it is a different style of that. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doop, doop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Perfect. Amundo. And let's murder some stuff. There we go. Bye-bye, tree. Okay. So it starts off pretty mundane. It starts off with just, like, a fairly ordinary, like, everyday kind of scene that you could be mistaken for thinking happens in, like, everywhere, every single day. It's not really that interesting. But we get to take note of the guy with the bag. And we don't know what's in the bag initially, we just know that he's being pretty careful with it. Perhaps he's recently purchased some new luxury item with his paycheck, and he, like, doesn't particularly want to damage it, that kind of thing. That's fair enough, that happens all the time. But then he bumps into somebody, so he takes a moment to check the bag's contents to make sure they're all perfectly fine and okay. And there's a head in it, which isn't really all that creepy until the eye opens. Okay, I need more of this. Boop. What type is this? Unknown. Going to have to guess. Assuming it's not just this. It is not just this. Knew it immediately as I put it down. Great. So this starts us off with a fairly classical hook of curiosity. We don't know what is the deal with the head in the bag. We don't know how it's still alive. We don't even know whose head it is, but it's where we start. It's our first, like, hook into the story. But we know that something strange is off. We know that something immediately is paranormal, because generally speaking, heads don't tend to, like, continue living after they've been removed from the rest of the body. You know, it's just sort of one of those everyday things that you learn at, like, preschool and stuff. People need their heads, or the heads die. Straightforward. Let me just put here. Well, at least you managed to actually end up in line, so that's fine. I can go with that. And once we got that, we get the computerized music, which is a recurring thing throughout the entire movie. You hear this all the time. And it sounds like human language and human, like, vocal patterns and such, but it's ever so slightly not. So it's got this hook of it's sounding kind of human, but there's something off about it. It doesn't quite fit with our definition of human, which handles quite well with Tomie. Well, then we have a quick cut to a more depopulated area with some sort of high school age girls. I'm not fantastic with ages, so if it isn't high school or if it's older than high school, I couldn't tell you. They're just sort of like talking about homework and drama and all that sort of everyday normal stuff. So, you know, clearly everything's gonna be perfectly normal and fine. Couldn't possibly be anything going wrong, could there? Okay, let us build this up so that I can take parts of it out, but more importantly, so that we can actually, like, get this structure put together. There we go. Already looking quite nice, except I'm out of birch. Well, we can take a bit of this out anyways, because there is a window back here that I have not actually put in just yet for a couple of these. And we get our first look at our lead female, at the very least, Tsukiko, which is a very common name, by the way. Fairly interesting name. It's the name of the main character for Paranoia Agent, which is a particularly favourite anime of mine. If you can get your head around it at times. I grant it is not the easiest of movies to understand. Okay, so that's looking good. Still need to, of course, fill out the rest of this, so I need to go and grab a bit more birch. Fairly straightforward, I can do that quite easily. So yeah, we get our first look at Tsukiko, and we get our first look at her new neighbour, with the baby box. Let's say the baby in the box that is not a baby in the box. Like, we find out a great number of things, and the first thing that we find out is that that is not a baby, and not in that box. No, Okay, there's my target. Phew. I haven't been over here yet today, so for all I'm getting huge lag spikes. Honestly, that's probably my fault, because these sky blocks cause a lot. So, yeah. So am I going to be able to grab some birch over here? Yes, I am. Good. Can also dump some junk in here while I'm at it. Do. And I'm looking for birch, if you would you kindly, birch? Well, you should have thought of that before you decide to be undead. Right. Back over. Just a quick stopover in the well. You know, nothing major. So then we find out that Tsukiko is going to hypnosis sessions, which is noted inside of the movie itself as being uncommon, as being generally not a popular, like, choice for therapy. And with fairly good reason. But she's doing it for memory loss. And whilst we don't get too many, like, details of the stuff that she's, like, trying to remember, we do find out that she's doing it for recalling the details of a traffic accident. And that she has these dreams of being covered in blood. That's the extent of it. We don't really find very much out about that kind of stuff. just that she has these recurring dreams about it. Okay, can I shuffle along a bit, just so that I... No, I guess not. Doop, doop. How's it always managed to miss that one section? That's kind of annoying. Doop, 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 doop. Doop, boop, boop. We see her getting on a bike outside, and the bike itself is especially worn, which suggests a number of potential things. Among them, it suggests possibly that she's poor, in a state of poverty at least. It suggests that she bikes a lot, that this thing has been worn down by routine, or it could just be that she's keeping it out of some form of sentimentality. That would certainly be perfectly understandable and such. Like, maybe it's a childhood bike, or maybe it belonged to her mother, who knows. Okay, I need the scaffold blocks. I can hear you, creepy noise, and you're not making me do anything. I think I want the birchwood crate, actually. Okay. Boop. Yes, there we go. Just bring this nice and out. Oop. And of course I managed to hit more of these dang flowers. Grr. Go away, flowers, no one likes you. When she manages to get home, where she's apparently living with her boyfriend, which is not necessarily a kind of situation that where her father will be talking about, but then we don't see any of her parents around. We know that she had a mother, but we don't ever actually see her mother. But she takes a photograph of her dinner. Considering that this movie came out in the 90s, I guess that means the foodie existed way, way, way back then. And just bring it there. I'm going to bring this a little bit further out as well, because we do have things to do, like things to build down this way. Oh, no, I don't want to be doing that, so I'll just put these down by manual hand, as opposed to automatic hand. Oh, no, this wants to be going this way. Doop boop. Axe, my kingdom for axe body spray. There we go. Done. So far, everything is just kind of normal. But next hypnosis session, we get a quick flash of something in red. We don't know what, because it's very, very quick. It's like a single frame and a music, like a music clip. That's about it. We don't really know what we've just seen, but we can at least make out that it is red. For example, we could describe it as being covered in blood. We will, of course, see this later. That is just plain old foreshadowing. Like, classical cinema foreshadowing. Okay, what are these ones that I need now? Birchwood planks, but of what kind? Of the kind, vertical birchwood planks. Okay. Hoop. And chisel. And that. And vertical birchwood planks. And vertical birchwood planks. And vertical birchwood planks. Okay. How many times can I continue to say that one word? Right. At this point in the hypnosis recording, we finally get the titular character Tomie named. Although we're still unaware of like any particular meaningful nature to them, we don't get to see them. We don't know what they look like at all. We just happen to know that Tomie has been uttered in these sessions of hypnosis. That is the extent of it, and that's all that we get for quite a while, actually. Okay, how can I do this now? Peh. Go away. I think I'm looking for that. Right. We finally get some pretty tragic details on some school peers of Tsukiko. Which, no, Clover is actually gonna be a problem. There we go. Namely that several of them committed suicide, that there was some deaths, that one person transferred out, which we then find out later is in fact Tsukiko herself. And then we finally get Tomie identified. She is Kawakami Tomie. a name that recurs apparently through history, according to the kind of obsessed, like, detective. I think that guy is, like, breaking a fair bit of, like, police protocol and guideline, but, you know, apparently he's keeping his job so far. Although he does also expect that he'll be on the Tomie case for the rest of his life, so who knows? Who knows? Right. For the rest of his career, at least. Doop. Go away, dandelions. You'd think I'd like a plant that's yellow, but no, I'm really more of a cyan blue kind of guy. There we go. Fly. Fly, you fool. Right. Ha! Meanwhile, in the neighbor's room underneath Tsukiko's apartment, the baby in the box isn't a baby anymore. It's actually like a toddler. It's like a young girl. I would put about 5 or 6 maybe, but is clearly very intelligent for her age. And Tsukiko's boyfriend of a chef is very busy with one of her classmates. Yep, great. Infidelity being what it is, by the way, in like the majority of cultures, infidelity is looked down upon. Even if it's like even in like cultures that have polygamy, infidelity tends to be a bit of a no-no. Let me see. I think I want the marble tiles. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why I've got the marble panel here. But yes, I want this. Good. I want this. This is good. Yeah, infidelity being what it is, probably we can expect these two to have some kind of downfall. These two to have some degree of significant misfortune. Speaking of, as just like very shortly after this whole affair is revealed to the viewers, Tsukiko has this vision of a bath of blood, where a hand reaches out and grasps her. And meanwhile, downstairs, the baby has reached maturity, and therefore breaks up with her carer/boyfriend in the most meaningful display of malice we could probably get from her in her short tenure as being an adult, cementing her as our most likely villain. At this point, we haven't seen this girl's face at all. We didn't even see her in the baby stage. But she then goes on to take a job at Tsukiko's boyfriend's restaurant, and essentially the past 50 minutes of screen time here have all been backstory. They've all just been establishing the tragic death of Tomie and like how it has impacted Tsukiko and how her life has been irrevocably altered and all sorts. And this is all purposefully to cement the importance of Tomie, of the character, of the prominence of her return, even though her return is, like, so far still kind of a blur. Is this birchwood planks? Yes, it is. Good. So this is all just like this is just exposition. This is just building the world essentially. 50 minutes of world building. And then the mystery neighbor is finally identified as one of Tsukiko's former classmates. So we then manage to get, at last, our connection. And then we finally discover, in what is a very, very, very heavily, like, a very, very exposition-y conversation with our detective friend, the mythos, if you will, of Tomie, that they will continue to recur throughout, like, history and all sorts, that he doesn't really want to capture her, nor would he really have much to do if he did, but he wants to meet her just once, despite the fact that he also states unequivocally that every man who sees her, like, falls in love with her, that kind of thing, like, and goes insane. It's like, no. Okay, so this just sort of this one scene defines her entire mythos. So from there, it's sort of like we're in the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and we are already at like the degree of knowledge about the character of Freddy Krueger as you might more appropriately expect for, say, Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Like, that's what we, like, we enter the scene in Nightmare on Elm Street 1, we exited in 4, because now we know, okay, exactly what's going on. And this is unfortunately where my capacity to get detailed notes fails me. So yeah, after that point, we actually get into meaningful, like, plot. We actually get into dealing with Tomie. So we see all of this stuff, like her seducing Tsukiko's boyfriend, not being particularly nice to Tsukiko in many ways. It's just sort of like, okay, you definitely are, like, villain character here. Like, there is no way that you are not the villain here. Like, you're just, like, plain old evil, basically. Cruel, like, malicious, and basically an immortal, like, high school girl. Not to besmirch a gender or an age group so unilaterally, but if you think of the stereotype of the bratty, spoiled, unpleasant, like, teen girl who's causing all the drama, who's catching all the boys' eyes, that kind of thing, that is what Tomie is, but immortal. Like, cyclically immortal. That's Tomie. And I guess it sort of feeds into this nature of, take just a garden variety form of unpleasant human being, and just stretch it out for millennia. Just imagine it never stops. It's like, you can come up with some very, very malicious insults or curses for someone just by taking one tiny piece of just minor irritation and wishing that it befalls someone for their entire life. Like, what is it the Calcifer says in Howl's Moving Castle? May all your bacon burn. And it's like, okay, that doesn't sound so bad. I mean, it's not like a rain of frogs or like all your loved ones will die, and then you realize you can't really have bacon, well, anymore, ever. And in Order of the Stick, when Zyklon has just become a leech, his, like, big thing when he was alive was drinking coffee, and now he realizes, okay, I've got this sweet undead body, I can, like, kill people with a touch. I can't taste coffee, ever, anymore. And then he just, like, goes in a bit of a murderous rampage. It's like, it's just, yeah, basically, Tomie is slight irritation forever. Like, that's basically it. Tomie is the mundane, like, unpleasantness of human existence, but stretched out before you in an unstoppable form. You can't kill Tomie, they'll just keep coming back. It's like, that's just set out in the mythos. Like, that is set out in a conversation. So, you know it's pretty much going to be by the rule. So you could almost consider that Tomie is essentially Nightmare on Elm Street for Japan, for Asia, in a lot of ways. Even though she builds on a lot of the pre-existing mythos of the region. That is about all I can say. I hope somebody at least managed to find a full version of it, because I couldn't. I managed to find about 60 minutes of it out of 95. Our next movie is going to be Jacob's Ladder. Finally, we're back to the West. This was made in 1990 by Adrian Lyne, and the content warnings for Jacob's Ladder are for blood, gore, and body horror, because this does involve a lot of imagery from the Vietnam War, and it also deals with hallucinations, delusions, and other kinds of things that might disturb a fair few people, especially if you, for example, have some issues with, say, schizophrenia, and a whole host of other potential causes. So just be on the alert for that. Shouldn't be... The West doesn't tend to do horror as well as the East, but should still be enough to elicit a spook. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I am going to go get some sleep, and I shall catch you all next time.